Welcome to a MainelyDIY.com video.
Oh my, it's someone's birthday and I don't have a bow to put on their gift package. What am I going to do? Well, I'm certainly not going to let them have my kitty, that's for sure. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make a simple bow for a package, and I'm going to use recycled materials, so that's a pretty good deal all around, I think. So for my materials, I'm going to use maybe a magazine, a catalog, or maybe even an old calendar. So what you want to look for in a magazine, the thicker the magazine cover, the better. But you want something that has quite a bit of color. This page has a lot of color, so that makes that a good page for me. So I'm just going to tear that out. This one I'm going to take one out of the catalog. Catalogs can be nice because they have lots of color. That page has a lot of color, so I kind of like that on them, which this one's perfect because it's all color on that side. So that page is really nice for this project. Here's another one that's a good colored page. So let's take a calendar. This is an old calendar. But for any one bow, you want to kind of get your pages maybe from the same source. So I am going to work with this magazine one, and the reason I say ones that are the same source is because you want them to be the same size. See how my calendar one's pretty big, and I could still use those together, but I just have to do a little bit more cutting, and maybe I'll even do that for demonstration purposes. Why not? So I'm going to start with a calendar piece, and I'm going to take this edge, just a matter of choice, doesn't really matter. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut strips. So I'm taking just a simple cutter. This one's by Fiskars. Pretty nice, pretty straightforward. And I'm going to put my material in there to cut. And doesn't really matter as long as you're consistent, but you don't want them too narrow either. So I am just going to strip that up a little bit. Okay. Take my page because I said I was going to use some of each. So I'm going to make some. So it's really easy to strip. You just line it up on where you want it to cut. You just put this little orange blade down. It has, let's get it in view for you. This little orange blade here. It's got a little point of a razor blade on it, and you just set it down, push on it, and you can cut in either direction. So that's kind of a nice little simple thing. Doesn't take very long to strip up your materials this way. I mean, you could do it with scissors, but I don't know about you, but I don't cut that straight with scissors. Another option would be a rotary cutter, but I find for this it's just as simple to use this one. Okay, so I've used this one's kind of got a raggedy edge, so I'm just going to toss that piece. So I've stacked them up, and I see that my calendar is about 1 inch longer than my page size. That's perfect. So I am going to start with my calendar pieces, and I'm going to make kind of a figure 8. So I put my thumb kind of in the middle of the page. I'm going to make this the inside, so I flipped it upside down, so I'm looking at what I'd consider the wrong side. And I'm going to take the end and I'm going to flip it over and bring it towards the middle. And I'm going to kind of hang on to that. And I'm going to flip it and come to the middle. So I like using a stapler here. just because it's a lot quicker. You can use a piece of tape, and I'll do the next one with a piece of tape just to show you that it does work fine with a piece of tape. So again, I take my piece, I put my hand about in the middle, I take the end, I kind of curl it around so it makes this little loop, and then since I'm going to use tape, I'm just going to go ahead and tape that piece down right in the middle, and then take the other side and do that. Now see, maybe I didn't want to tape that down because I didn't get maybe as even as I want to, so I have to fudge a little bit more. So maybe it's better to tape them at the same time. So let's try that with the third one with the calendar piece. So I'm flipping, and as I say, I want the good side back there. So I'm going to turn it around, flip it over, and now I'm going to use my tape, now that I've got it kind of center. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stack those just like that. And I'm going to just put a staple in it. I kind of would maybe do 3 of them at a time. So maybe I'd use a combination just so I wouldn't end up with a whole bunch of staples. So I put those together, and then I'm going to pick out three strips to use for my next section. And remember, the magazine here was a bit shorter, about 1 inch shorter than my calendar piece. So I'm just going to go through and I'm going to make the same thing, and I kind of maybe make a decision here. Do I want that side up? Which I think I do, but just for kicks we'll flip it over and we'll make it this way to see if this is more pleasing. And it's kind of a matter of taste. I'd use the green looks better there, but you know, the blue looks kind of good there. So, but as I said, I'm going to have the green facing out more, or on the loop end of my thing. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tape 3 of these units. And these strips were 1 inch shorter than the other ones, so they're going to nest in really nicely because they are smaller. So we're just going to stack these up on top of each other and then put them in the center of this, so you're kind of offsetting from each other. And then I'm going to take my stapler and go ahead and staple that. Okay, I'll puff my bow back up, and then I'm going to take some more of the magazine, but I want to trim these off. I want to trim 1 inch off the edge. So let's see. So I'm going to take these 3 pieces, and I'm going to take a ruler here and a pair of scissors, and I'm just going to clip off about 1 inch. You can see you don't need to be real precise with this. It works just fine. So I'm going to continue to make my little loops here and tape them together. Okay, so then I have my 3. So I'm just going to set them on top of each other like I've done in the previous rows. And I am going to take my main bow, and I'm going to stuff this new one I just made, nestle it right in there, and take my stapler, staple it, and I crushed a little bit, and that's okay. I can just perk those right up, and then I can take a scrap of this paper and make a little loop for the inside. So I'm going to say maybe That big might work fine. And I'm going to tape that together. And probably use double stick tape if you can get your hands on it. If not, you can just take a piece of tape and roll it over on itself. Kind of make a little loop there. And I'm going to stick that on the bottom of my centerpiece. And then I just poke it right down in there. And I have a bow made of scrap materials. So that's kind of handy because you always seem to have scrap paper around, or at least I do. And so there's a bow you can make at a moment's notice. So thank you for joining me today for making this bow, and we appreciate your visits and your comments, and please come back often because we do lots of crafts and we fix things and we find solutions for things, so hopefully we have something that will be of interest to you. Thank you, and you have a great day. Bye-bye.